Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, a show where we talk about all of our geeky interests. The show we talk about movies, TV shows, video games, and comic books. My name's Tommy, delighted as always to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's the one and only Drey. How are you, mate?
I'm good. We just tried to do the intro with me, and we had to nix it.
We always seem to have a riff on the intro after we do the intro.
That's true. We should probably stop doing that.
Because last week, I think I went through about 18
we should stop doing that. Look, I promise you this. Next week, I'll do the intro.
I would love to hear that.
Next week, it's
coming.
Come with a plan? It's going to be ace.
Are you going to do the same one I do? Or are you going to
it'll have to be different. Because naturally, I'll have to do it better, right? But I'll come with an outline. Ready to go.
I'm excited to hear this.
Dude, we got to give the viewers something.
I want to get in your head. I want to know what's going on there because normally when you joke around at the beginning, it's just complete nonsense.
That's what I.
There was a good minute and a half of just you essentially talking to yourself there.
Well, that's what a podcast is really half the time. Just talking to ourselves.
We can save that for we can save that for the takeouts for the end of the year.
Okay.
We'll do like a best of Drey gibbering to himself at the end of the year.
Well, there's plenty of that, or the testings. We test the mics, man. That's got to have some content somewhere.
Oh, I delete that though. That's unfortunate because you normally end up doing a song. And do you want to do a song for
on the cutting room
listeners?
Floor? No, I'm good for now. I'm good for now.
What were you singing a minute ago?
What were we singing?
System of a Down.
I'm not doing that. I'm not.
It's not normal though. It's normally
you can just add it to the end of the podcast.
Just
add it to the end of the podcast because then it won't be like I won't be all embarrassed. Like I was already doing it.
If I hadn't deleted it, I would definitely.
You already deleted it?
Well, the testing stuff I just removed.
It's just gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's the cutting room.
It's just
floor.
when you try and do intros.
When angels deserve to door.
I can't. I thought you said you weren't going to.
I just got up the courage.
Like Drake or something. It's normally like a bit weird and wacky.
Yeah, it's like what's that Drake song? They all sound the same.
Yeah, just hold on, we're going home. I've heard that.
We got to stop now. Okay, let's get into it.
So talk to me. What have you been up to this week?
This week I finished. What have I been up to? I've been watching Touch and Go stuff, but I finished The Dark Crystal, which I think you started.
Really? I haven't started it yet.
You haven't started it? Oh well.
I was looking at the access.
You were just IMDbing.
Yeah, I was. I was on a little journey somewhere, and I was just like IMDbing it furiously. And it's got such a good cast,
bro. I didn't even realize. I was watching it and still discuss. When you were telling me it's got a good cast, voice actors, I knew it did. And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Holy crap! It's got more than I thought."
Everyone's in it.
Who was the surprise one that I didn't realize? The ones I realized were Cersei Lannister, whatever her name is.
Cersei Lannister.
She's in it.
Is she?
Yep, she's in it.
How did I not realize
I just noticed that from actually watching it, not from looking
really?
it up. Simon Pegg, who I didn't realize until I actually looked it up because I was like, this guy's good.
Simon Pegg is great.
There's another one. We already talked about this last week, but there's who are you surprised to see?
There's absolutely loads. Trying to think. Like you mentioned last week, Natalie Emmanuel, who she's obviously Game of Thrones. Taron Egerton, who I definitely butchered the name of last week. A few people messaged me that. Thank you for letting me know.
We're just doing double content on this because we're basically repeating all the same thing.
No, but I was looking at it too, and it's one of them IMDb pages where you don't even realize how big the cast is until you start scrolling right through. So Simon Pegg you mentioned, but then Benedict Wong, who's obviously in Doctor Strange and the Avengers movies as well.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's in it, and then you've got Keegan-Michael Kay from Key and Peele, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, Mark Hamill's in it.
That's the one. Mark Hamill's the one where I didn't realize that he was in it. Who is Mark Hamill again?
Good question. I've just lost him.
Because he's the one
the scientist.
Okay, makes sense. I finished the whole thing and I saw Mark Hamill at the end and I was like, what? How did I not realize?
Andy Samberg's in this.
No,
Helena Bonham Carter's in it.
The fuck is Andy
Bill
Samberg?
Hader. This is Eddie Izzard. This cast goes on and on and on.
What is Andy Samberg?
I'm super excited. Andy Samberg is
I'm looking it up.
The Heretic.
Yeah, it's a smaller role, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, but still.
No, but full episode or two. Yeah. No, they've done well. They've done well. And
that's
the craziest part about all this?
No.
It got canceled.
What?
Yeah, Netflix canceled it in September because it was just too much money.
I was going to say, I bet
someone will pick it up.
Well, it's an 8.5 on MDB.
Dude, I mean, it's critically acclaimed. It won Emmys.
Really?
And they canceled it.
I'd be surprised if this doesn't get picked up.
But there was also a big shake-up.
HBO could pick that up.
Oh, for sure. Or, any of them. Amazon, Apple, they all got the cash. And
well, Netflix apparently don't. You know that, right? They're apparently billions in debt.
Well, I mean, every tech company's billions in debt. It's just a matter of if they can service it. But let's not turn this into The Economist.
Let's not talk about this right now.
Debt financing, all that.
So
what
else have you been up to? Talk to me.
Other than that, not much. I finished The Witcher. I finished it. Well, I finished one ending of 16.
Witcher 1 or
Witcher 2?
Witcher 2.
One ending of 16. So
nice.
I could go play it again, but I won't. That's to be honest, all I've been pretty slammed during this week. Other than getting ready for this podcast and the thing we're going to talk about, which I won't ruin, but I'm pretty excited to dive into that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we kind of touched on it last week anyway, but what have I been up to? So, I mean, I mentioned last week the video game I've been playing, the one that my brother bought me when I was sort of 21.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called because it was so retro.
The Last Remnant. It's such a throwback, but I've been like, so you know how whenever we talk about video games, I always end up just talking about how I did every single side quest that ever happened in that game. That's exactly what I've been doing. I lost track. I've forgotten what I was.
So this is a game that has side quests.
So many. It's like an RPG. But like all RPGs have.
Yeah, true.
But
I just the era that you were talking about, I was like, wow, does it actually have? No, to be fair, it was a
2008, I think.
Yeah, it's made by It's a PlayStation game.
Yeah, it is. No, sorry. It was originally an Xbox only game, but it did get moved on to PlayStation.
So it's not that old. Sorry, I was thinking like
no.
What is it, 8-bit? It's like that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's got side quests.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What is it, Pong?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I haven't had a lot of time for other things. I did watch. So Disney released Marvel Legends, which is going to be a quick overview of each of the characters that its new shows and such focus on from the perspective of their time in the MCU. Yeah. And they released 2 shorts. Did you watch them?
No, I did not.
Okay, so they released 2 shorts this week, and it's basically Scarlet Witch and Vision. Obviously, WandaVision coming out on Friday. It's coming out so soon. We'll have to touch on that next week.
You did tell me to watch that. Now I'm remembering, and I just ignored you.
No, it's... Appreciate that, mate.
I saw WandaVision, and I was like, oh, yeah, totally going to do that.
It's actually really standard. Like, it's just a load of clips from, like, the movies just being like, here's how they got to where they are. Yeah. Here's what they might do. Ooh. It's like...
I did watch Ice Age 2, if that qualifies. Dude, underrated movie.
I like Ice Age.
Every time I watch them, I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Like, I'm giggling quite a bit.
Yeah, it's like good movies.
It's like a good... If you have to, like, concede to the girlfriend sometimes, it's a good one to concede on.
Well, I watched some... Last Chance You. Have you ever watched it?
Is that the
It's about American football. Yeah, it's about American football where kids who are in for anyone who doesn't know anything about American football like myself, it explains it very well in the first episode. But kids who are in the top tier college football teams, they get on TV, they get promotion, they get and essentially end up going to the NFL.
They're like a red shirt senior. It's their last chance.
Exactly.
For sure.
Whereas these kids are ones who've had they've had trouble pasts or haven't quite managed to hit the grades they need to do to stay in the schools, and they've had to drop out. So they go to this school in, I think it's Mississippi. I think
it would be in the first South.
Season. Yeah, but it's this coach has built this team that's winning like national championships from these players, and their goal is to show off how good they are to get back into the National League teams. And it's like so interesting.
It is interesting. The crazy part, as an aside, there's like no other thing like college football, like in any other sporting.
College basketball,
Well, kind of, but even college basketball, there's an amateur league that's getting bigger and bigger,
right?
The G League, so like you don't have to go to college to like kind of get notoriety and get that payday, right? Okay. You can also like a lot of people play
in the
abroad.
G League. Do they get paid? Like, I found out the G League gets paid. They don't get paid in college basketball, and they make so much money off that.
No, yeah. Well, I think that's starting to change. I'm not a sports podcast, but
good point.
Anyway,
we're getting way off topic.
It is crazy because like in basketball they can go play like LaMelo Ball. Like one of my buddies met him at the freaking airport out here because he used to play for Melbourne. Like instead of going to college, he went and played internationally.
Okay.
So it's it's a thing that happens. Anyway, as an aside, so that's what you've been doing. You've been watching Last Chance.
Just up to a bunch of stuff.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it is. It's great, actually. I would recommend if you want something that's a bit sporty and a bit different, from the normal stuff. So, well, I mean, why don't we talk about a little bit about Have You Heard? Have you heard this week? Actually, today it's been announced that Bethesda are working on an Indiana Jones video game.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think.
I know, right?
That was like, my brain kind of took a second. Yeah. I was like, don't they make like those monster RPGs that are like heavily modded? Like, isn't that Skyrim?
Yes.
They make Skyrim and stuff.
Hang on, I'm just looking. Yeah, Skyrim,
like interesting
Fallout 76.
I love Fallout. I just
did
played
Doom Eternal.
But those are all like monster games that are like, just like Indiana Jones is like a distinct storyline. It's not really like a world.
You would think this would be something that someone like Naughty Dog, who obviously did like the Uncharted series, would just jump at. So weird it's gone to Bethesda.
I mean, they make good games.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm intrigued. Like, it sounds pretty interesting.
Didn't Microsoft buy them?
Wait, did they?
I think they did.
Oh my god, yeah, you might be
Microsoft
right.
bought beside it for like an absurd amount of money.
Yeah, and I think it's like $4 billion.
Yeah,
maybe.
Microsoft's just buying everyone. All the
But so is
studios.
Sony. That's
it
kind
makes
of
sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what's
Because you
happened.
just own if you own the content, you make money whatever system it's on.
Yeah, well, that's the point. So that's going to go to PS4 as well, more than likely, because they wouldn't have enough money.
Dude, speaking of video games, the eBay guy tried to return Cyberpunk 4.
Oh, really?
We were just like, you know what, whatever, I'll try.
Yeah.
So that I can get something else that I can play.
Yeah.
And he was just like, no, you can't do that anymore. That was only up until December 20th. Like, they released a patch. So it's like
is it playable now?
No, I Googled the patch and they're like,
really
it's going to be a year before. If you're on the Xbox One, you can play this game. Whatever. I need to take a break from video games for a bit. I got to get back into reading. So there you go. But,
well, actually, talking about reading, I actually started reading Secret Invasion today, which is obviously a Marvel comic line, and they're making the show out of it too. So I was quite excited. But also, did you hear that you know Loki season hasn't even been released yet? But apparently, it's already been picked up for season 2, reportedly.
Well, I mean,
so we've seen the first kicker trailer for it. It's not out till the end of the year.
Oh,
so
God, what a joke!
Yeah. But how cool is that? They must have so much faith in it. And Tom Hiddleston, we talk about him every bloody week. The guy's incredible. He's just so chill.
Yeah, he is good.
I love that guy. There was talking of Disney. There was actually an interview with Kevin Feige this week. I believe it was with IGN, if I'm not mistaken. And he was very open about a lot of the stuff that was coming out. And he was asked whether the Daredevils and Jessica Jones of the Netflix shows would end up in the MCU. He was a little coy, but he kind of said never say never, which I think's great.
Yeah.
There's more rumors suggesting that Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter will be joining the She-Hulk TV show, which is kind of interesting. I'm actually pretty excited for that show, but still. Well, did you hear off the back of that, talking about Kevin Feige, that he has brought in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness head writer Michael Waldron, the writer of Loki as well, to write a new untitled Star Wars movie?
I didn't.
That's so interesting.
Another one.
I love how much crossover is going on here.
Another one.
Well, the interesting thing about the Lucasfilm stuff is that they have a really bad track record of just canceling directors, just like firing them just off the cuff. Like, you saw what happened with the guys who did Game of Thrones, Benioff and Weiss.
Well, they deserved that.
Yeah, but it's like
they deserved that.
Yeah,
every bit of it. No, I take it. But also even before them was Rhea.
Yeah, so many people.
There was a bunch of people. There was like, didn't the
dude
do the
did the
second
Last
one?
Jedi.
Yeah, it got all like they cut the director, went somewhere else.
Crazy.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so there's a bunch of stuff that's been coming out in the news this week. So, but like, did you also hear that we knew Chris Pratt was going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder? We've talked about this before. Our scoop that we never actually scooped. That we were a bit too late on. But then it has been reported that Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan have all landed in Sydney. So you'd assume they're doing something. Well, you'd assume they're doing their 2 weeks before they move on to do the actual filming of Thor: Love and Thunder. That's a film that I'm super pumped for, but doesn't quite make the cut for this week's conversation.
Fair enough. There's also been plot details revealed about the Lord of the Rings show, which I don't want to like spoil people, but I'm excited for that, which should be fucking cool.
Well, do you want to put a spoiler one? Because I'd really like to hear that. Or do you want to tell me after?
Well, I can tell
that's
you after.
That's a bit of a tease.
I mean, basically that there will be. It's not that bad. Like locations will include the Misty Mountains, Lindon, and Numenor, which I'm not a lore expert. We should have like a segment where it's like, call your local lore expert. Like, everybody's got a friend that knows everything about fucking Lord of the Rings, right? You just call them up.
Do you have a friend?
I'm sure I have a mate. I think one of my buddies, Ari, might actually be pretty versed in
my mum's brother used to.
I could be that guy for Thrones.
Obsess over Lord of the Rings.
I could be that guy for Thrones. I mean, he's not like Stephen Colbert. Have you seen that guy?
No, is he?
Dude, there's so many segments on him on his show where he just like goes deep into Lord of the Rings lore. He knows it all. He's a big time nerd.
Okay.
Does he still even have a show? I wonder.
I've got 2 more have you heards. Three more, and then we'll wrap this up because there's a lot of news this week. First and foremost, Deadpool 3 has been confirmed as being in the MCU. Did you hear that this week?
I did not, but that's awesome.
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
I just imagine them doing...
They'll make a joke about it too.
Well, yeah. I imagine them doing Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. That's one of the comic lines. And if you can imagine, you know all the Fox Marvel stuff, all the X-Men, he just goes around and murders them all. Yeah, like he does at the end credits
in the second one, yeah.
Yeah, the end credits of the second one. And you just like... Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
It means that they never have to cross over. They're all dead. Like, perfect. I've got a really funny one that I'm going to say in a minute that I think you're going to laugh at based off last week's show. But Netflix has announced 70 new movies for 2021. Basically, at least one premiering every week. They've got some content. So among them, we have a new Idris Elba movie, The Harder They Fall.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also got ZZ Beats in it. There is Escape from Spiderhead, Chris Hemsworth, our favorite. Zack Snyder's doing Army of the Dead, which is his new zombie movie.
I did see all these. This
Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds. They have got some content.
20. Well, they signed all those deals, man, and so now all these things are probably being released. Some of them were delayed. I'm sure.
Do you reckon they were thinking they were going to release these over like years, and they're just like, fuck it, we need the content, just put it out there, put it out.
I reckon like part of it was probably Corona, and they just like were like, oh, like everyone, they were like, how's this going to affect us? But you know, part of Netflix's thing, the way they keep their lead is just to like constantly be releasing new stuff.
Yeah,
so you're
true.
like, I'll be honest, like I am never like out of things to watch on Netflix these days. There was a period probably like 2 years ago where I was like, fuck, I don't really like any of this. But it's also hard to say because like the Australian Netflix is different than the US one.
Yeah.
But
you've got a
what's that?
What do you call it?
I do have a VPN, but I meant like their originals weren't that good, and I was like, if they didn't have good licensed material at the time, because that is always being cycled, right? Sure. I'd kind of go through times where I'm like, fuck Netflix, right? It's like Stranger Things, House of Cards, and there was nothing else, and now there's just like hundreds of things. Yeah, I want to watch. So I
always find myself in that spiral, and tell me you go through the spiral as well. I'll sit there and I'll be scrolling, I'll be going, yeah, I want to watch that eventually. Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah, of course.
Eventually. And it's never anything I want to watch right now. It's always stuff that I will watch.
That was Django for the last 3. That's one of the things I've been watching.
Never watched
rewatched Django. You've never seen Django?
I've seen the first hour.
Django! It's the best, dude. It's the best.
That needs to be a theme.
It is the theme, bro.
That needs to be a theme.
Literally
in our show.
The opening scene of Django.
Amazing.
Django!
Yeah, that's going to be a theme in our show. You doing that over and over again.
Bro, it's so good. Right. Silent hillbilly. Anyway, I rewatched that the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite good.
All right. Final. Did you hear then? Did you hear?
Sorry, man.
This makes
you really weren't expecting that, were you? I guess you haven't seen the movie.
I'm laughing at you and this because this is hilarious, and this is a testament to how little has come out in 2020. Wonder Woman 84 is being submitted for consideration across Oscar categories, including a push for Best Picture.
Shut up.
Like, I'm not laughing because it's a bad movie.
No, that's laughable.
I'm laughing because it's the state of cinema that not so little has come out that Wonder Woman's in with a genuine shot.
You're laughing at both. You're laughing that it's a bad movie and the fact that it's being considered.
What came out in 2020 though?
There's plenty of movies that came out in 2020 that are better than
New
that.
Mutants.
Probably
not better than that.
But none of those are. You're talking just comic book movies. Surely,
I'm trying to think of other movies that came out. Bill and Ted came out.
But like you're saying, for Academy Award winning,
what? Name me 5 movies that came out.
I could name you Mercy. There's the Chicago 7.
Netflix doesn't get a shout in the.
What do you mean?
Netflix doesn't get a shout in the Oscars though. It's
even if it's
not seen as high art enough.
Even if it's a film,
as films, they're not seen as high art.
Oh, this one, I think the Chicago 7 will actually win it.
I
then there's the Chuck.
I think the Michael B. Jordan one's got a better chance.
Was that the the Mercy one? Yeah. I mean, it's a great movie, but I think the what's his name's going to get it for sure is Chadwick Boseman's movie that he did posthumous.
Solid point.
There's 3, right? And by the way, all 3 of them, I think, or at least 2 of them have black leads, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking Tenet before fucking Super fucking Woman or Wonder Woman.
I was taking a swig of water then and just poured it down myself.
Oh, dude, I saw a really funny YouTube video about Tenet where it's like the pitch.
Oh yeah,
the Tenet
the pitch video.
Oh god, it's fucking hilarious.
Jesus Christ. I'd prefer to see Tenet win over Wonder Woman.
But even that wasn't that great.
Over Wonder Woman.
Yeah, for sure. My point is,
we're talking about one film that's better than Aquaman 2018 and one that's worse than 2018. Aquaman.
Wonder Woman should not get consideration.
No, it shouldn't. But I think it's hilarious that they're trying.
Yeah, it's fair. It is like what did you say? Insight into the state of cinema.
Oh my god! Yeah, Jesus Christ! Yeah, it really is.
Some other things I noticed over the week. Mass Effect, the the Legendary Edition, the remake.
Oh.
Release date potentially leaked. So my whole I'm going to take 2 months off video games is really
okay.
going to be challenged because the date's March 12th, right?
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Which was the leak was spotted by an Idol Twitter user or a Twitter user named Idol Sloth. That was
great.
the leaker. Yeah, just give credit where it's due.
Credit where credit's due, yeah, of course.
If you're listening, Idol Sloth, well done, mate.
Hashtag Idol Sloth.
Yeah,
for president.
So yeah, I think that's all we've got for like what we've been looking out for.
Like what have you noticed? I think that's what we can call that segment
what have
from
we
now on.
noticed?
Like,
That's what I've noticed.
What have you noticed? Because I don't look at things and think, oh, this is newsworthy. I look at things and think, oh, I noticed that on the internet.
What have we fucking noticed?
Yeah. I mean, that makes way more sense.
I've noticed the Lakers are freaking good.
Smashing it right now. But this isn't, you said yourself, this isn't a sports podcast.
But they're good. I had to say it.
So what are we going to talk this week? What's our main discussion with your main topic?
All right. So the main discussion this week.
What are we going to talk?
What's that?
What are we going to talk about?
Oh, we're going to talk about our most anticipated movies of 2021.
Yes, we are.
That were all filmed in 2019.
They've all been sat on the shelf for 2 fucking years.
Where all the leads look a little bit older than they should if you Google them today.
You were talking about Chris Pine last week and
Chris Pine,
how he looks way older.
Bro, even Loki, I was like, bro.
He does, doesn't he?
You've aged. And that means that was filmed earlier, so he's even probably worse now. But, he's got humor going for him.
Well,
so
I think
he's
Loki,
not just a pretty face.
I think that Loki was filming during COVID.
Pretty recently.
And it probably still is.
Pretty good.
More than likely. I can't say that for a fact.
So yeah, we decided we tried to do top 10, and then it was like going to be fucking 3 hours long. So now we're just going to
no, originally I was going to recommend we just talk about all the movies coming out in 2021 because my thought
all
was
of them. All the movies.
My thought was it was going to be similar to last year where we got like 10 movies and we could talk about Wonder Woman 1984 as if it was going to win an Oscar.
Please kill me.
So I was like, and then I literally opened a website and looked at all the movies and went. So we've already got to
repeat.
we got down to our. I mean, like
6 to 12 there.
I mean, there's everything you want. So Cinderella is coming out.
So wait, Cinderella, is that a Disney? Didn't they just do one?
I don't know. I wasn't paying enough attention. But then there's everything from Cinderella to F9, like the Fast and the Furious 9.
Yeah.
There was something for all tastes coming out this year, but what we did is we narrowed it down to a few that we would like to talk about. There are a couple that overlap. We did have a list of 10 each, correct?
We did, and honestly, a lot of mine didn't overlap with comic books, but we picked some.
Interestingly,
yeah. Well,
we picked 5 that overlapped on our lists, which we'll deep dive into, and then we'll sort of just talk around the other movies on our list because there's a few that I'd quite like to talk about that didn't quite make it. I mean, like, spoiler alert, The Suicide Squad, James Gunn. How do you not want to see that movie?
I was just confused, as I am with every DC thing that's going on. I saw it there. It was like, this movie's been made. This movie has been made.
I think you're confused in general, my friend. All right.
I think DC is. They think they could just rehash everything within 6 months of a freaking... Anyway.
Well, that's another conversation. We'll talk about that in a moment because actually there are some quite funny points about that. But the first one on our list which crossed paths was Dune.
Dude.
Is that how you say it?
Dune.
Is Dune the American version or the version?
Dune. I don't know. I mean, this book and this movie.
Yeah.
It made me want to reread this book, man. It just like,
really?
It really did epitomize the feelings.
Man, I've watched that trailer over and over again.
That's what I'm saying. I just rewatched the trailer before the podcast, the recording of this. And I was just like, wow, I need to dig into this book. Like it's amping me up. Like the cast, the props, the art, like the scene.
Oh my God, it looks
so good. The scene setting. Like, and they picked like just the right amount of ones from the book to like show in the trailer to get you amped if you're a fan of the book.
And this is, of course it looks good. It's Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, of course, dude. I don't know
who does nothing but the most picturesque movies of all time.
What has he done before?
What is it? Oh, fuck, I've forgotten the name. Blade Runner 2050.
Dude, if it's that guy, I'm so stoked. I loved that movie.
Only makes beautiful movies.
I love that movie. And
that don't make any money. So this is not going to make any money at all.
Bro, I loved that movie and all. I gave it to like, your mates thread. I sent it to the mates thread, like giving it like the glowing recommendations. And like weeks later, while somebody just randomly chimes in like, dude, this movie's so fucking boring. I was hurt. I was like, I was so into this movie.
It's so visually stunning. I watched that. I actually went out to the cinema. I was so excited to see it, and I loved every second of it.
So when I watched it, it was back at my old house. We had like a projector, and I watched it on projector. Yeah. So maybe that was part of it. And with like the surround sound, I loved it.
That's cool.
Anyway.
So this movie, God, it has us cast. Oh my God.
It does.
Zendaya. J-Mo, that's our new name for Jason Momoa. That's how we're going to call him from now on. J-Mo, Timothy Chalamet, Oscar Isaac. It has everyone.
Yeah, it's got fucking Thanos.
Yeah.
And he's
Josh
got,
Brolin.
and his character in the books is pretty cool as well.
So is he Timothy Chalamet's dad? I couldn't really tell.
So who's Timothy? Is that the young boy?
Yeah, that's the main character.
Oscar Isaac is his dad.
Oh, that's
And actually,
sorry, you're right.
And
you're
it
right,
actually
you're right.
they look like
You're
in
right.
that film.
So
Or
they-
in the
Dude, just as a quick aside here,
Yeah.
can we talk about how amazing Oscar Isaac's beard is?
I was gonna say his hair, but I guess maybe in
The
general,
full package.
the full thing. Like,
He has
He's
everything.
got coverage.
He's
got
a
coverage.
silver fox in
Yeah,
this movie.
you see the wind blowing. There's
How-
no like spots on his
I'm
hair. It's
gonna-
like a full. He's doing well.
I'm going to throw it out there. I've got a bit of a man crush on him in this. And I thought it would be J-Mo who'd take my attention,
everyone
but
does.
absolutely not.
Everyone does.
It's all Oscar, man. So obviously you know the book.
So I really, on that note, I really hope they've done everything right so far
Yeah.
to like get someone who's
Yeah.
read the book amped.
Yeah.
Is
So-
it going to just be a single movie, or are they doing a
this-
trilogy?
So I was reading this the other day. Apparently this movie is only based off the first
Oh yeah, we
half
talked
of
about
the
this
book.
at one point. Yeah, it's the first half of the first book, which it's a big book, so fair enough. I'm glad they're doing it that way. What I do,
Do you think, I mean, the question is it going to make money? That's how they'll end up making it into a second or third movie, etc., etc.
God,
But
it's got to make money.
you can't leave on a cliffhanger.
It's got to make money. It's got everybody.
Dennis
it's
Villeneuve
cool
movies
sci-fi.
just do not make money. That's the problem.
Yeah, but
He
Blade
makes
Runner,
these-
to be fair, it was kind of retro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people haven't really, of our age group, unless your parents made you watch it, it wasn't something you watched. I watched it because I think my dad made me at one point.
All
But
right.
like, there's
I'm gonna
nothing in
give you-
between that and now. Whereas Dune,
I'm going to give you three of his movies.
okay,
And I'm going to tell you that none of these three made money, even though you're going to say they're all amazing movies. So obviously, Blade Runner 2045.
Yep.
Is that right?
20.
Is it 2045? Am I saying this wrong?
I don't fucking know. Yeah,
2049. Sorry, fucking hell. I
2049.
can't read. Arrival, which was
Awesome
Amy
movie.
Adams. We watched that together. You
Awesome
got me to watch
movie.
it. And Sicario, which is one of my favorite movies.
Sicario had to make money. They made a sequel.
Yeah, but it was done by a different. It was done by a different director, different writer.
Yeah, but it's crazy that they would make another IP on something that didn't make any money. Surely they made some.
he makes these phenomenal movies that are beautiful, but just
well,
people
look,
don't go
man.
see them in cinemas.
But I think that Dune will make money because it's got that sci-fi vibe.
I wonder.
Sci-fi does
So does Blade Runner.
sci-fi fucks.
So does Blade Runner. Blade Runner is
No,
a
but
sci-fi.
Blade Runner is a bit. You're completely right. But Blade Runner does feel a bit different. Like it has like that. Like this is less retro.
Okay.
Like I don't know the dude like the. Well, to be fair, the original Dune series wasn't. It's retro,
So
but
I
it
was-
didn't really
I
do
was-
it
I
any
was gonna bring up-
favors.
I was going to bring up the first Dune movie
Yeah,
with God.
That's
What?
like it ruined this guy's career, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's the dude?
So he hates being asked about it nowadays.
Who's the dude who was in? Hang on a minute, let me find him. Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan. Oh, he's in so many cool things.
I don't remember, but the director.
Twin Peaks, that's the one. Sorry.
Yeah.
The dude who's in Twin Peaks is like the main guy in that movie. And
Well, if you just look at the thumbnails of like the costumes and shit, I could have told you it was going to be a fucking terrible idea. Yeah, it's like they're bad.
I'd love to see the trailers for both like side by side.
And then there was also like a show at some point, and that was
Oh,
also
really?
bad.
So I didn't know
but no,
that.
this one nailed the art direction. We're gonna spend. I think we should probably move on. But
No,
the
that's all
last thing I want to say is I really hope they do get in, and this is gonna really, I think, determine whether or not like diehard fans like love it as well. Like they've done everything right so far, but to like really, ace in the hole.
Yeah.
I hope they get into the whole concept of like genetic forecasting and like
that
almost
seems like the
the-
trailer. It seems like
almost the
trailers.
breeding of humans in the genetics and I
Yeah.
think it's like what is it called, the Bene Gesserit, which is this whole like religious cult. They have to
Is that a word from the book that
It
you
is.
didn't ever actually say out loud until this exact
yes,
moment?
and it's like the
I love
weirdest.
that- I love
I was
that
like,
shit.
I looked at it. I looked. He saw me look at my notes twice. I was like, that can't be right.
My favorite is like
You know, like-
I love Harry Potter. You know this. We've talked about it multiple times.
Yeah, yeah.
But like there are times when I've been having conversations about it, and I've said a word from one of the books and gone, "Oh, is that how I say it in my head?" Like,
No, for sure. I remember
I have no
dude,
idea.
for the longest time until like book 4 that I knew how to say the word Hermione. Like, I think I called her like Hermione or something like as a kid.
But in your head, you just skip.
And then the
over it, don't
movies
you? You
came
just
out, and I
carry
was like,
on.
"Oh, that makes sense."
Oh, that's a name.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a real name.
Well,
so
but
that's-
anyway, they have
go on.
to include that stuff because if they do, it's really going to be tough to do. But if they nail it, it will be awesome. Anyway,
I mean, this looks like a real spectacle. For me, I think this might struggle if it doesn't get a cinema release because I don't think this will be anywhere near as good just on HBO Max as it would be if you could go and see it in the cinema.
I hope like if they do it right, I hope that it would stand on its own either way.
It's coming out
But
towards the end of the year,
I take
so
your
fingers
point.
crossed.
Like it's kind of one of those movies where you want to see it. In
Oh my
cinema.
god, yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So look, a few of these movies that we're going to be quickly talking about, we don't know a lot about, so we're going to more be talking about why we're excited for them rather than going into big details. So the next one on our list is the new untitled Spider-Man project.
Yes.
Why are you excited for this movie?
Mainly because they've just done a really good job with the franchise since getting Tom Holland and all the rumors around it. I'm like, I want to know which ones are going to be true. It was a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean,
the last one. So.
It's bringing back all the originals. So it's obviously got Zendaya, Tom Holland, Marissa Tomei, but then also the people seemingly, definitely confirmed for the movie. We know Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be in there. You know, he's going to be bringing in that multiverse. We have seemingly confirmed that Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina, who was
Jamie Foxx is
Seemingly
confirmed.
confirmed. Seemingly confirmed. So I mentioned before the interview with Kevin Feige when he was asked about this. He was very cagey about the whole thing, and he did say that. And I mean, this is a classic misdirection. He said some of the stuff that you see online could be close to what's actually going to be in there, but some of it might not be. It's like, just tell me what's happening in this goddamn movie.
Yeah, I mean that's like
give me a trailer.
That's like George R.R. Martin. He's like kind of said the same thing. It was like somebody asked him like, has anybody guessed the ending of Game of Thrones? He's like, dude, this shit's been out for like 20 years. There's like millions of people reading. Like somebody got it right. Yeah. He's like, I've read it.
I think you sent me a couple of things about Game of Thrones during the week. Actually, like his motivations for different characters. And I really
I was in like you know,
they were really interesting.
I was in like one of those like YouTube
holes.
Yeah, where it just kept giving me like things I wanted to watch, and they all were about Game of Thrones.
I did that.
It just reminded me of like the good when Game of Thrones was good, right? Yeah. And one of the comments was like in like a top rated comment on the YouTube channel or the YouTube video I was watching. Somebody was like, "Yep, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get high and watch George talk about Game of Thrones all day." And I was like, I vibe that. I vibe that.
So we're going way off topic here. Spider-Man. Why are you excited for Spider-Man? Like, obviously,
all those things I said, plus the multiverse. I think that it's good. The fact that world's going to intersect is going to be cool. And they had good banter in Avengers.
We talked about this before. I don't think they're ready in the MCU for a Spider-Verse movie. I would very much like this movie to be setting one up. I want the next one to be in it.
I'm of two minds with that, but I do like that like the multiverse is getting involved and that opens up a bunch of stuff for them. And I do like that Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch are going to be in the same movie again.
So good. I love those two. And John Watts, the director, has done just such a good job with these movies. Like this will be his third one, obviously. And they're all like phenomenal. Like someone finally doing a Spider-Man movie, right? Like I'm just excited. Like we waited so long for this. I was actually listening to a podcast today. Rotten Tomatoes is doing a podcast as well about whether the Rotten Tomato score is right or wrong about certain films. And the first one is on Spider-Man 3. And it's really interesting to listen to people sort of talk about it.
Trilogy.
Yeah, sorry, the Sam Raimi trilogy. Yeah.
Is it like it should be terrible?
Well, the Rotten Tomato score is interestingly not. It's right on the border of.
Really?
It is actually technically 61%, which means it's fresh. But it's apparently like. There were like two of them were like, this is crap. And one of them was like, I love this movie. Yeah. Well, but I just love that. So what I found really interesting is that one of them made the point that if we didn't have this movie, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. If we didn't have the X-Men movies, if we didn't have those building blocks, we wouldn't know what works and what doesn't work on screen. So I find that really interesting hearing like different opinions on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really cool. I'm cool with that.
I mean, that's fair.
It took long enough for them to
still
get
should
there,
be below 61 with that in mind.
It's definitely not
like, totally. I mean, that scene where they make fun of it in the multiverse where it's just like, pointing his finger. Yeah.
Oh God, let's not get into that. Look, the reasons I'm excited for this movie is obviously left on a cliffhanger in the end of the last one. He's kind of over his Tony Stark guilt now. You would think
harp on him about that. It might be a bit.
I'm just excited to see where they take it next. I think Tom Holland's a fantastic actor, and I think the whole growing up with that cast is really fun. And I'd like to see if they can get them out of that high school setting and move them on.
I was going to say, so this is the third one, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Of like just Spider-Man. So this is usually where it goes bad. So like that's where I think I'm interested also is to see how they like break that mold, right? Like a lot of superhero movies, the third one isn't as good.
Counterpoint.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thor Ragnarok.
Well, I was gonna literally say except for Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But I also feel
Captain America.
But I also feel like Thor is like a cheap one because Thor didn't the Avengers come in before that? So really, The first big Thor movie.
He got Taika Waititi. That was what changed everything.
The first big Thor movie would have been, the third one actually, would have been Dark Elves, which was terrible.
I think for me, the second...
Or Dark World or
So
whatever.
the second movie isn't as terrible as everyone makes out to be. It's not good, but if you compare it to the rest of the MCU movies, if you're comparing
I
it to...
rewatched it and enjoyed it.
If you compare it to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 or 3, it's fine. It's a good movie.
Fair enough. I agree. Everyone gives it a lot of crap, but like it wasn't the best. My point is,
got the tone wrong.
But my point is even like just in general, like the third movie usually.
I agree. Yeah.
For something that wasn't architected to be a trilogy, it's harder to like keep it going without like.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see how like what they do with when you get, I think what was his name. Robert Downey Jr. talked about it. He's like, I love the MCU writers because they want to write themselves into a hole, and they can like find some really creative way to get out of it. And so
it kind of helps that they've got 80 plus years of comic books behind them.
Yeah,
to
for sure.
Dive
So
into
many
if they
ways
want
they could
to.
go.
Yeah.
And I guess my point is, I'm excited to see how they write themselves out of like us getting bored with Spider-Man in high school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Spider-Man in the comics, like he's. Obviously, there are different iterations, and usually they try and focus on a younger one. But like he grew up in the comic books. Like he got married to Mary Jane. He moved on with his life.
Yeah, but a little early for Tom to get married. I agree, but I hope that's.
I'd love to see that.
I hope that's what they pursue. Tom. Yeah.
No, but like this movie for me is probably it's up there with the ones I think Dune's probably the one I'm most excited for coming out this year. So the reason this originally wasn't quite making my top 10 for this year was because I just wonder if they'll push into 2022. Like, you think how stacked the Marvel...
Yeah, anything that, like, is untitled at this point, I think probably will.
And the fact we haven't even had any
Dude, that's what I was thinking when I was going through those trailers. I was like, trailer after trailer of movie that looks cool in 2021.
Although Tom Holland did tweet a random date today. He just tweeted a date and nothing else. And the internet is...
Can you imagine if, like,
blowing
your life,
their minds
like,
over
if you just
this.
accidentally, like, put your phone in your pocket and tweeted some, like, autocorrect date? And the world
you just let
was
it go
waiting on your every
just
word.
Like,
what a different life. Like, he must be like, fuck. Mean
Tom
nothing by this.
Tom Holland's happy with it. He'll just run with it. Right, okay. Next movie. The next movie that we both had on our lists was No Time to Die, the next 007 movie, which we were talking about before we started the podcast. And tell me why you're excited about this.
I mean, like, I feel like there's just something about a Bond movie coming out. Isn't there?
Yeah, no,
Isn't
I
there
completely
like a
agree.
mystique about that? Like, when the new Bond movie comes out, it's something you're like the way it was for me in like college and high school. It was like something you could get your freaking dad behind to go see. He'd be like, "Yeah, let's go do it. Like, I'm taking you, paying for it. A day at the movies. Get your grandpa to go see. Like, my grandpa was down like to go see these movies. And they just have a certain level of like, I don't know, masculinity behind them that's fucking awesome. There's no other way to put it.
I completely agree on that. It's such a weird one. Like, I watch a Bond movie, and I think the hit rate of these new ones is like, I think 2 out of how many? 5.
Give it like 50% if you're
so
kind.
Say roughly 50% has been good, right? And you can put it down. And you go, oh yeah, that was great, or oh no, it wasn't that great. And I personally don't even think about a Bond movie unless there's one on. I skip past it on like not Netflix, Stan over here or whatever. Unless I skip past it, I don't even think about Bond movies. And then when I get the sniff of a new one coming out, I'm like, "There's a Bond movie." And all of a sudden, I'm the biggest fan of Bond in the world.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm
going in with cautious excitement.
Yeah. Look, the director he directed the recent It movie, It Chapter 1.
Okay.
And he also did the 3rd season of True Detective, which I reported back last week was very good. So I'm excited, man. Like, this looks cool. Cary Joji Fukunaga.
I'm just excited to go front to back with Daniel Craig movies leading up to it.
Oh, you're going to do
Daniel Craig Bond movie. For sure. I haven't seen any of them in so long.
Well, I didn't put this in something we know, something we've seen this week, but this has been reported today that's apparently been pushed back again.
Why?
I think they want the cinema experience.
Because I was going to say that the trailer I watched was like, it's like November it was supposed to come out.
Well, yeah. If you think about this movie, right? So they've now done 2 runs of the marketing push. Yeah. Which is, you would assume the first one was about 200 million and the second one was pushing at least 100 million for marketing for this thing.
It's kind of tough.
If they're not going to get it in cinemas.
It's
been shopped around. I think Netflix tried to buy it. It's like, but then this is a stacked cast. So obviously Daniel Craig, Rami Malek. I'm never going to say her name correctly. I apologize. Leah Sado. She was a love interest in the previous one. Obviously, Ray Fiennes is back. Christopher Waltz is back. We talked about him before. He's
Yeah.
an incredible actor. Naomi Harris, obviously back as Miss Moneypenny. And there's talk of female 00 in there as well. She's in the trailer. I'm not
I think
sure
it's the
which
African American.
Yeah, I'm not sure which actor it is, but there's talk of that there's like a competition between the two.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the trailer. It looked like they were
Yeah.
going to do something like that.
Just a little bit different. Like we've seen Bond, and what's real funny is he's supposed to blend in. He's supposed to be a spy, right? So he's supposed to be able to be a blend into any environment. And I was listening to a podcast today, and they were actually talking about Bond for some reason, and it was really funny that that Bond still wears any sort of tuxedo. The reason he
stands out.
The reason he wore tuxedos in the original books was because when men went out to casino, which at the time was seen as high society, they would dress in their best. So they would wear a full three-piece suit with a bow tie. Yeah. Whereas now, have you ever seen anyone wearing a three-piece suit that isn't going to the races?
Bro, the world is worse for it. We should all be wearing three-piece suits.
I completely agree.
I would be down.
Completely agree.
There's something about it. You're fresh. When you go to the races, though, you dress up.
I love going to the races.
You go to the races, you dress up for sure.
But I also,
not to the casino.
But I also think there's a fine line there, right? Like it's real cool to dress up, but if I had to do it every day, I'd be like, fuck, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's cool for social events, is my point.
Yeah.
You don't see it as much these days for social events as you would have in the past.
Yeah. Well, this is coming off the back of Spectre. We talked about this before.
Dude.
Spectre was the one that was a bit of a letdown in many people's eyes. Like, it brought back Blofeld, who was Christoph Waltz's character, who's obviously a classic villain from Bond. It didn't really hit the mark. So this has got a new villain in Rami Malek, but also brings back Waltz. So I'm intrigued to know where they're going to go with that. It's like a bit of, is he going to have to lean on the bad guy to get information on the new bad guy?
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff like that. Like, it's hard to tell who's the villain. Like, that was part of the trailer, where they're like, who could be the villain, right? Like, people you trust could betray you, kind of thing.
And it's Craig's last one, right? He refuses. Sure. I mean, he said, at least for the last two of these movies, that he doesn't want to do anymore. So they must just keep upping the offer. It must be like, he must be getting paid like 25+ million for these movies.
I'll tell you what, I went through as you were coming to the spot, all the Bond trailers, because the trailer got me hyped, and I was like trying to judge whether I was just always hyped every time a Bond trailer came. And to be fair, like the good ones generally, did have better trailers. Like Quantum of Solace's trailer was kind of shit.
Interesting.
So
Quantum of Solace was pretty shit.
That's my point. Yeah. Like, so hopefully it's not just all hype from trailer. Like, hopefully this actually.
But then Spectre was pretty rubbish. But I quite like the trailer of Spectre. I thought it got a. But then my favorite.
It's a pseudoscience. Don't think
my
too
favorite
hard.
Skyfall.
Brilliant. It's a pseudoscience. But on the topic again of tuxedos, there is a mission in Red Dead 2 where you randomly get a tuxedo and you feel badass as fuck. So I just think we should wear more tuxedos more often.
Maybe you should have brought that up when we did the podcast about games you wanted to see as movies.
Oh, God, I'm going to live this forever.
We'll go back to that at some point. You can bring it up next time.
Okay.
All right, so the next one on our list is The Matrix 4. Now, I am super pumped for this. We know like barely anything about this movie.
Yeah. So I debated if this should be on my list.
Okay.
Candidly. Because I'm like, what the fuck could they possibly do?
Well, not much is known, right? It's
like The Matrix.
We know it's not a prequel. So it's going to be after the events of the original 3.
So I never even finised the third movie, candidly.
Shut up.
Like, I every time I try, I fall asleep.
What on earth?
Dude, the CGI.
There's so much action. Like, how do you physically fall asleep in that?
Like,
it's like
you lower the volume, and you hear a bit of that. You hear a bit of this.
That's you actively trying to fall asleep. There's a difference.
Like if I could do the bong bubbling.
That's you. That's you actively trying to fall asleep. You can't pull that on me. You've got to at least try and watch it.
No, to be fair, I probably have seen the end. Like, I remember spoilers. We can talk about spoilers for this, right?
So the spoilers for Matrix 3.
Like, there's a guy in the room with all the TVs. I remember that.
That's the second one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I haven't seen the third.
That's the second one.
Anyway, I think I know the ending, right? Like you want to just
go now.
No, you tell.
What year was The Matrix out in 2007?
I guess my point is you tell it because I obviously don't remember it that well. So if we're gonna postulate where it goes,
they find out that Neo has powers in the real world as well as in the Matrix, and he fights
all the machines.
Agent Smith in the Matrix and somehow beats him there, and then fights machines in the real world,
which is all CGI,
but dies because I think he uses up all his power or something. it's a lot of not. Like, it's a lot.
I the reason I didn't watch it is I heard it was absolute nonsense.
But you've got to watch it to get that experience.
Anyway,
but like I'm
with that ending,
excited
where
to
the
see
fuck
this.
do they go?
I'm excited to see this. Like, you know, it's got a really interesting cast. Like, it's obviously brought back the old favorites: Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, all back. So it's obviously going to have a lot of folks in the original main cast, but also it's got Neil Patrick Harris joining. And Yahya Abdul
what?
Mateen II.
You did not just say Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, he's in there. I'm intrigued. I wonder if he's going to be a bad guy. I'd love to see him flip.
I think I just glitched.
Like, go on.
There was a glitch in the Matrix just now. When you just said Neil Patrick Harris in a Matrix movie, I was like, eh.
Look, every time I say I think someone's going to be bad in something, it turns out fucking amazing. But
I saw the
let me finish the next
black
one.
cat just there. Anyway,
let me finish the next one. There's the Yahya Abdul Mateen II, who is the guy who plays Black Manta in Aquaman, but he's also in the Watchmen TV show. Do you remember?
Which one is the guy in Aquaman?
We watched the Watchmen TV show.
We watched
together.
both of them. Who is this guy?
Dr. Manhattan, the guy who's bright blue.
Big dick.
Yeah, literally big dick. Yeah. He's in it too.
It's got to be a prosthetic, right?
I don't want to.
You don't want to surmise.
I don't want to put
this
my foot in those
make you
waters.
uncomfortable?
No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all. I just don't want to talk about another man's dick. On our podcast.
He's not really a man. He's like a radioactive entity at this point.
It's true.
Anyway,
he is a god.
Carry on.
But look, this is just a movie. It's going to HBO Max as well. I'm pumped for this. Like, it's just a movie that I think has a lot of potential. I love the original. The original is probably one of my top 5 movies of all time.
Dude, the original is great.
Yep.
The problem is we're 2 movies removed from it, and a storyline that had a bad ending.
Let's go with the comic book version, right?
Yeah.
Like, if something is bad or doesn't work, you just write it out. You just ignore it for the next one. That's what movies do now.
I just don't think you can. That's what DC does, and I'm not a fan.
All movies do that now. If you just didn't like a movie, just go around it. Do a different thing.
I don't know.
Look, we just don't know a lot about this movie, and I think we're just pretty hyped in general for it.
Fair call.
So the next final one of the 5 that we sort of thought we'd go into a little bit more detail on is the upcoming Black Widow movie, which is the first Marvel movie to come out in over a year, which they haven't done since I think it was 2008.
Which is exciting. That's part of the reason why it's on the list. But to be honest, I don't know enough about the story. It's just her past, right? And so it'll be interesting. It'll be cool. The main thing for me, David Harbour.
Well, I was watching it. Yeah. Well, I was reading a thing about it, and it's set between Civil War and Infinity War, so it's set in that little time period.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes it more interesting.
Yeah, and she goes back to, I'm assuming, Russia to
fucking put it, redemption
arc
fix
for
her
Black
past.
Widow.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting. You've obviously got ScarJo, you've got Florence Pugh. You mentioned David Harbour. It looks kick-ass, man. There's so many cool things.
It looks awesome. And look, the only thing that's giving me pause is that it seemed like Dave Harbour is going to be doing a Russian accent. Which,
but then he's in Russia. He's in Russia in Stranger Things, so maybe he's learning. He's learning it for that as well.
I'm just really worried about that. You know how bad a Russian accent, if done poorly, how that could affect your viewing of a movie.
I love that he's I love that he's an aging version of a superhero or whatever he is, and he's like trying to do his thing. But this has also got Taskmaster in, who anyone who's played the Spider-Man games on PS4 will know that he's in those. He is also apparently in the Avengers game. I didn't play enough of it to care about that, but he's a really cool villain, right? So he has what they call photographic reflexes, which basically means he can mimic the abilities of anyone he's fighting against.
Okay.
So in the comics, he's a really cool character. He's built up a knowledge of all the different Avengers, and then they have to find new ways to beat him. So he's always trying to find a new strategy. It's finding how can I. So I'm intrigued to know what she's going to do in this. And it's apparently a passing of the baton. The baton. It's apparently a passing of the baton. To Florence Pugh, who's kind of seen as the next Black Widow. So I wonder if she'll take the Black Widow mantle, because that isn't Scarlett Johansson's character. She's Natasha Romanoff. It's whether it's a mantle that gets passed on and she then becomes the next assassin, whether she becomes part of the movies moving forward.
No, it'll be. I mean, I'm sure they will. It's the MCU. Yeah. They're going to build. The thing they're going to run into is how do we not do this like in a tropey way, like with every single franchise, like pass on the baton, right? Hopefully they don't do it for everyone.
Well, we know she's got to survive the movie, so
yeah.
That sucks. We already know. Yeah, but no, the thing is,
you know what I mean, though. Like, this is their way of getting a new Black Widow. They'll probably do the same thing with like an Iron Man at some point, or
well, I mean, that's Ironheart. That's
I just don't want them to do that for every character. then it becomes kind of like gimmicky. But
well, tell me why you're excited about this movie. I appreciate it's the first Marvel movie in a while.
Honestly, that's the main reason.
Okay,
and all, like, who doesn't like Scarlett Johansson in like
She's
a
great.
tight jumpsuit jumping around doing crazy things?
I was going to go with her action abilities, but she is also a very attractive lady.
Obviously, her acting abilities are the first thing I talked about, but you know, she's in a tight jumpsuit. I love Scarlett. She's the best.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm interested because they haven't really done like prequels before. So it's weird that they're...
It's a different feeling.
It's about fucking time. She's been in the Avengers for 10 years. It's about time she got her own movie.
It's a different feeling, like not being like, oh, where are they going to take the main storyline with this in the next one? It's going to be mainly about something in the past. Doesn't mean there won't be a ending credit scene, but...
I imagine if they did something really shit, like you say, the tropes. Imagine if they did something shit, like they transferred her consciousness into someone else. Or...
No, they're not going to do that.
Could you imagine? I'd just
surely
stop.
She's over it as well. Surely she's ready to be done.
No, I mean, like, Florence Pugh just takes on her identity.
Well, that would kind of ruin it, because then that new person would have like no agency. It'd just be
and also the sacrifice in Infinity War would mean nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to know where they're going to go with it.
I don't think they'll do that.
What they bring into it in terms of the different parts of the comic books. So that's probably the top 5 in terms of the ones that we both.
What are the ones we talked about so far? We did No Time to Die.
We've done the top 5. We did Doom. We did Spider-Man.
Matrix 4. Spider-Man. Yeah, you're right. We did.
Yeah. So what we might do now is just jump into a couple of other ones that we found on the list that maybe we just want to give a shout out to. Just tell me a few of the ones that you're interested in seeing.
Okay. I just lost the notes for a second.
No, it's great because I mean, there's a couple of honorable mentions. I'll tell you my honorable mentions. Trying to skip around the ones that you're going to talk about. Mortal Kombat. I mean,
and do we know anything about that?
Very little.
Okay.
There's been no justice done to it. I mean, a lot of people like the music from the first movie. That's not a reason to like a movie. There
it
is
doesn't hurt.
Ghostbusters Afterlife as well. That's another of my honorable mentions.
So I have that on my honorable mention as well, and only because Paul Rudd's in it. Yeah. And the kid from Stranger Things is perfect for that. But yeah, Paul Rudd leading a Ghostbusters movie is like perfect.
But I like that they've taken it to a small town as well. It's not necessarily in New York.
So Stranger Things though, isn't it? It was like so reminiscent. Like somebody saw Stranger Things, was like, we can make
absolutely
a Ghostbusters movie with that kid.
But it's I've completely forgotten his name. The director's the original director of Ghostbusters is his son.
Yeah,
who's directing this one? So that's almost like going back to a bit of a passing of the baton. That's really kind of nice.
So for sure, I think it's gonna be good because of Paul Rudd. Like that's the kind of actor you cast in a Ghostbusters movie. If you think about the originals, it's in line with that.
So what else are you excited for? Give me the quick rundown of the other ones that are on your list.
Chaos Walking, which is
I've not heard anything about.
So this is Tom Holland.
Okay, yeah.
Daisy Ridley. It's great. Also got
Daisy Ridley's great,
dude. Yeah, it's all, and she's got a bit of a different look. It's also got Mads Mikkelsen, who's just in he's in every weird sci-fi movie, isn't he?
I watched a thing he did on Netflix called Polar. It was crap, but he's just so engrossing that I can't take my eyes off the screen.
I do remember seeing like an ad for that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find IMDb right now. I want to like look up his
film list.
Yeah, because it's all sci-fis. I feel like
I mean, he did Hannibal, which was a TV show.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Star Wars sci-fi. He was in that Rogue One.
He was in Rogue One. You're right. Yeah.
You're right. Polar. Okay, this is
so
Doctor Strange kind of sci-fi.
Yeah, of course.
I forgot that he was the main villain in that.
He was great, Caecilius. Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't Michael Kohlhaas. Looks like the same thing as well. But anyway,
so another one that I'm super pumped for that's coming out in 2021.
Well, hold on. Let me get into the story a bit.
Well, so I mean, we were just going to fly through it, but let's.
Okay, fair.
Go down. You go. Give me.
Well, it's an interesting concept. It's like we don't know anything about it. Daisy Ridley lands on this world, and this world is just there's only guys on it. It's all guys.
I've heard about this.
It's all guys, and they can read each other's thoughts.
Oh.
Like, everyone has the power to read each other's thoughts on this world.
Even hers?
Except they can't read hers. But she can read theirs. And, like, the way they do it in the trailer, give it a watch, it's, like, weird how, like, they kind of, like, show what they're thinking before they're thinking it and, like, how they basically visualize someone reading someone's mind.
Ooh, okay.
Anyway, and they can't read this, and everyone's trying to chase her because we don't know why there's no women.
Because there's only one woman on the planet. That's why it
makes you think it's that, but there's got to be something more than just that. Carnal instinct, like Jesus, Tommy.
It just makes you think of that episode of Rick and Morty.
Well, it's true. Like,
the episode where they go to
you can do a lot worse than Daisy fucking Ridley as well.
Well, you know the episode where they go to the Gazapazop planet and they're like, there's literally, oh my god.
I don't know if I remember this one. I've seen them all.
Because Morty gets the sex doll. and then it sprouts out a baby, and he has a baby with this doll, robot thing. And then they go to the original planet, and it turns out the women have become a higher power, and they've separated the men from the women, and the men are just carnal beings, just in a thing just being fanned for the whole time. It's great.
I mean, dude, Rick and Morty's great. We could do a whole episode on that. Anyway, that's so you want.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
I'll just find my next one while you're looking for your next, and I'm going to bring it after you say something which is really high concept sci-fi. I'm going to bring it right back down to earth with one which is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Which I'm pumped for that.
Fair enough. You've talked about it enough that I'm pumped for it too.
We all know the score with that. Yeah. That's going to be a good one, I reckon. Go on. What's next on your list?
Let's do Coming to America 2, because I know you don't have it on that. It's Eddie Murphy's first thing in like a decade, bro. And Coming to America was hilarious.
I'm going to cancel this podcast.
It was hilarious.
What are you talking about?
Coming to America was a great movie. Anyway, we don't have to spend any more time on that.
Surely that movie is uber problematic in 2021.
Not if it's Eddie Murphy.
Like,
how are you going to get mad at Eddie Murphy about that? Come on. We can't be in that big of a cancel culture.
I can't imagine.
We can't be that big of a cancel culture. The whole point of comedy is you have to be able to go step on the line. Like, and you know what decides?
I agree.
You know what decides if it's too far?
I agree in many cases.
The room. If there's no one laughing, then you're right.
Look,
anyway, I'll go see it.
Anyway, you can go see it on your own. I'm not going to see that with you.
But to be fair, the problem being, because of cancel culture, whoever let them make this movie, they probably cut out all the stuff that actually might make it a good movie. I don't know. I hope it is. That would give me confidence.
Well, the next one on my list anyway is Godzilla versus Kong.
Really? That made your list?
Look, really? It just all I can think about is the Guillermo del Toro movie Pacific Rim. That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't even realize it's a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Look,
it's crazy to me that he would do.
Look, all I'm thinking about is massive, giant fucking monsters beating the crap out of each other. There's obviously gonna be a twist. It's not just gonna be them two fighting. It's gonna be like Civil War, where they eventually team back up and have to take down a bigger threat. I'm intrigued to know what the bigger threat's going to be. I'm intrigued to know what Millie Bobby Brown's going to do in this one, because she did fucking nothing in the last one.
I didn't even know she was in the last one. Yeah, she just got paid. That's what happened.
And there's always like a humanitarian or like a bigger world problem that's sort of highlighted through these movies. And I'm intrigued to know what avenue they're going to go down with that.
Okay, fair enough. And if you're done, I want to do one that I think we can actually dig into because there's a trailer. Quiet Place 2. Oh yeah, I'm excited for this one too. That is going to be cool, I think. And the one thing I will say is it was a great premise for a one and done movie. Yeah. They've taken it where I think the only place you could take it, judging by the trailer, which is like, hey, we followed this family and what it did to them. Yeah. If we're going to keep telling this story, what did it do to society? Well, and but I worry that trope has been done a lot. It's kind of tropey. It's like the entirety of Walking Dead. Well, interestingly, there's going to be flashbacks in this to the beginning. So when the whole thing kicked off, when these monsters arrived. Yeah. So it's going to show more of that. So I think there's going to be some John Krasinski in there. It's going to be interesting. I wonder if they planned that ahead of time. I mean, and if not, how are they going to do the kids? The kids probably aged a ton since then. I don't know. Anyway, interesting. I'm excited for this. So that's one of them. So this is one of those movies. So the first one, A Quiet Place, is one of those movies that I haven't seen all the way through, but not because I don't want to, but because, do you remember that classic Simpsons moment where Homer walks out from, not Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back? He walks out of the cinema, it's in a flashback, and he's walking past the queue of people, and he goes like, who would have guessed that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father? And everyone's like, you fucking... And like, that happened to me with this movie. I was like, oh, great, so you're just going to ruin the whole ending for me. Thanks, I appreciate that. So like, I just knew how it was ending, so I was like, I'm just going to watch the bit, just fill the blanks in. You know what I mean? Really? So I just watched the bits that I didn't know. Like, what got ruined for you? Like, the fact that he dies? Yeah, all of the ending. Like the fact that he sacrificed himself for the family, the fact that she's giving... But I was literally like, stop fucking talking. I'm literally here. Yeah, that's annoying. So that got ruined. But anyway, I think the second one... and it's got a good cast, right? It's got... so good. It's got Cillian Murphy. See, how do you say it? Cillian Murphy? Cillian Murphy? He's in it. Oh, of course he is. Yeah, he's one of the... It seems like one of the main guys. He does like a... like a wild... sort of like way, like he looks like he could be in an apocalypse. He does that wild look really well. Yeah, with his eyes and the scarecrow fucking character face. Yeah, he really does well with that. So I hope that they do that well. My next quick one then is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
We don't know anything about this.
Yeah, hard to talk about. Not much
Simu
there.
Liu, Michelle Yeoh. Look, man, I just really hope that at some point soon the MCU brings it back to street level.
Yeah.
So this is a great way they can do that. But it also gives us the interesting fact that the Mandarin is going to be the main villain in this. We've had versions of the Mandarin in the past. A lot of people weren't happy about those versions of the Mandarin. I'm excited to see where this goes, where it takes it. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, and then I think I'd like to talk about 2 more. We're coming up on an hour, so maybe we should be quick about it. But Uncharted.
Let's do 2 more each, then we'll... well, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah,
Great.
Uncharted. Like I don't even... To be fair, I haven't played the fucking games. I've only played them a bit.
Actually, my best mate called... I was talking
so
to
I
my
don't know
best
the
mate the other
story.
day, and he was literally saying to me, just buy these games, get a nice beer, sit down and play them. And I'm like... My brother played them when they came out and loves them.
Yeah,
so
they're really good.
I'd be down to play some of them, actually.
Yeah.
That one's going to be I think it's focusing on a young Nathan Drake. So it's sort of how he became the rugged sort of, Indiana Jones type that he ends up as. But why are you excited for that one?
Just because I love the vibe that those games seem to have. I played the first one a bit.
Yeah.
And it's just a good, fun story. It's like a modern Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah,
Tom Holland, like him.
Great.
And mainly because I'm just excited to see how some of these video game adaptations to movies do. A lot of them don't do well, and they're doing a bunch of them now. So I want to see what happens with them.
So the thing with these games that concerns me, especially about making them into movies, is they take this weird turn into like having like these weird zombie like creatures at one point.
What?
So at one point,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like if you imagine like how Indiana Jones basically stays, even if it goes into religious things and it goes into like
some supernatural things,
a little bit of supernatural. This goes like hard right turn. Yeah. So like you get to like 2/3 of the way through and you go into
the first game,
or all of them apparently, and you go into like a temple or whatever, and then all of a sudden there's all these like weird zombie things that are almost unkillable just attacking you, and you're like, what? Like I don't understand. Where did this come from?
If the tone doesn't actually set up that way, then that's kind of weird.
I would rather it steer clear of that. I'd rather it be a bit like talk, about his adventures. He's like, I'm going to say Indiana Jones again, but sticking to that realism that sort of drives.
No, that's fair.
I think that's a fair point. But my only then 2 concerns. Mark Wahlberg.
What's wrong with him? We got against Marky Mark.
I just don't. Ever since he did Transformers, it's gone way down in my estimations.
I mean, come on. I didn't even watch that, but he just took the paycheck.
True.
It's Michael Bay.
For 3 movies?
Did he do 3?
It's either 2 or 3.
Then he really took the paycheck.
Real bad.
Yeah.
The dude who's directing it is Ruben Fleischer, who did Venom and Zombieland Double Tap. So
okay. Fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do for my second one.
Well,
it's your call though. You're
that was one of the ones I was going to talk about. So, but I will then quickly dive into the one I mentioned up top, which you're going to love me mentioning, which is the Suicide Squad, which is obviously HBO Max again. I seem to have a lot of HBO Max on here, which is quite interesting. The reason I'm super pumped about this is James Gunn. I think it's quite obvious by now if anyone's listened to a single one of these podcasts that James Gunn is like top director for me. Love him, love his style. Interestingly, he's brought... So this is neither a prequel, nor a sequel, nor a reboot.
So what is it, Tommy?
So I've renamed this...
What is it, Tommy?
As it's equally a continuation and a reboot. So I've named it a rebootuation. That's what we're calling this from now on. It's a rebootuation.
Okay.
Here we are. Such as 2020. So who knows?
I mean, like...
Who knows?
It'll be interesting because, like, this is like almost the scientific method to figuring out if James Gunn is just as good as ever.
Yeah.
Because like you had this IP, same cast, with a shitty movie, and now you have the same IP with a good director. Let's see what happens.
DC are hoping that it's their Guardians.
Yeah, it's like an Control A and Control B. Right?
The problem with it is that it's bringing back some of the previous characters. So your Margot Robbie's,
Problem.
No. The problem with the fact that it isn't necessarily a reboot, but at the same time it isn't a continuation, is that you have returning characters. So Captain Boomerang's coming back. Yeah, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn's coming back. But then you have all these different characters. So obviously Will Smith is out.
So like, what does that mean for like? Are they going to reference it? No one knows.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm pumped to see what he does with it.
Okay.
It's going to be real fun. Like John Cena's going to be great in this, and like they've just like Taika Waititi's going to be in this. It can't be bad. Like in my humble opinion. I can't imagine this being bad, and even if it is, I think
good directors make bad movies sometimes.
I think I'll have fun watching it regardless. Like the from what we've seen of it, the like The action beats look huge. They basically said to James Gunn, like, go and do your thing. Go and have fun with your rebootuation.
Your rebootuation.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, reboot continuation. It's not going to be continued. Rebootuation. Let's stick with rebootuation.
Yeah, let's.
I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, basically.
I want to say, yes, I'm excited for it. Yes, I will watch it. I just, again, it's got that tinge of DC on that I just can't really deal. I'm like, okay, I can't believe they're doing another one. But fair enough.
Do you want to do one more, or do you want to leave it as that?
Free Guy?
Okay. Talk to
Free Guy. It'll be quick. I mean, it's video game-esque.
That was one of my...
I don't really get it. It's kind of like Ready Player One meets Deadpool, feels like. But...
well, he's a video game character.
Yeah, so he's a character in a video game.
He's an NPC, yeah.
He's an NPC. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So he doesn't have any to do other than the set path.
Yeah, he's just like, fair enough. I'm just excited because it's like, you know what it is? It's just another one of those, like, I feel like this one probably got signed on when, like, right after Ryan Reynolds released the Pikachu
probably
movie.
It's
probably. It's like, hey, let's just put Ryan Reynolds in these really weird scenarios and his comedy will just carry the movie.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is doing everything right now.
What else is he doing?
Everything. He's obviously got his gin.
Yeah. You mean like in life? Yeah.
He's bought a soccer team in the UK, like in Wales, a tiny little soccer team called Wrexham. How
much money does he have?
With Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Really?
Those two have bought this tiny little soccer team.
They must just be like,
some reason,
what can we do? This will be fun.
Blows my mind. They must have so much. He's also got his own marketing firm. His marketing firm is killing it right now. Like he is.
I mean, to buy any kind of sports team, like I don't know,
it's tiny.
Still though, how much do you think it would have gone for?
Nah, not as much as you're thinking.
Okay.
Like small amounts comparatively to like American.
Why would you do
sports.
that then? It's not for the mystique. You must just love football.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I love that you said football and I said soccer. I was doing it for you. You were doing it for me.
I'm real deal. I'm real deal. All right. Yeah.
I think that looks great. Like he's an NPC and he gains like a pair of glasses that allow him to see the world around him as it really is. So like the fact it's a video game and all the stuff happening around him. And he sort of gets this insight. And so he starts to rebel against his code, basically.
Okay.
I think that sounds fun.
No, it's going to be funny for sure. And then...
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say... the other one that the honorable mention, if you don't want to if you want to keep talking about Free Guy, we can. But I can't believe you didn't talk about Top Gun Maverick.
I just completely skipped past this.
I heard that was coming out like years ago.
No, it never got greenlit. Tom Cruise didn't want to do it. He was too happy doing the movie I was going to talk about, which was Mission Impossible movies.
There's another one?
Yeah.
I just watched the most recent one.
So, Miles Teller is Goose's son in the new Top Gun.
Okay. That'll be good. I like Miles Teller.
Well, the original version of the movie was supposed to have a lot about stuff about drones in it, and it was supposed to be about drone strikes and sort of using that. And then they just
got rid of it.
It just was a bit like, come on, guys, just put Tom Cruise in like an airplane again. Like,
to be fair, that would be pretty boring, wouldn't it?
What the fuck would you even do in that movie?
It'd be a pretty boring movie.
Dire.
Yeah. No, I should have mentioned that on what I've been watching. I watched the new one with Henry Cavill. I think that those movies, the new, Mission Impossible,
I'd watch that again.
They're starting to get repetitive. These ones, they get good reviews in theaters. And to be fair, I watched the whole thing and I'm interested.
But that's the point. Like it's just
really formulaic.
Everyone goes to see these movies, see how Tom Cruise is going to try and kill himself in the new one, right?
I guess.
Is that not?
But no, they get better ratings than I think they deserve. But I also don't think they're bad movies. So I don't know. I'm like of two minds.
So I think the original one. So personal opinion, original one, not bad, better than Aquaman. The second one significantly worse than Aquaman.
Which is that the one with the long hair?
Yes.
Terrible movie.
John Fu? John Woo?
I don't remember. But
John Woo movie where he was doing like
there's like a virus.
Gun Fu. Yeah, really bad movie set in Australia, funnily enough. And then the third one on par with Aquaman 2018, and then it's only gone up since then. So 4, 5, 6.
Isn't that the one with like the new cast? Like Simon Pegg wasn't in the original.
So he came in. I think he came in about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it has been on an upward trajectory in terms of the quality of those movies, which is baffling. And I can only think of one of the movie set that parallels that, at least in terms of its critical output, in terms of what the critics say about them, which is confusingly the Fast and the Furious movies. Because I opted
out of those a long time ago.
I think I stopped after the third one.
Yeah, same.
They started about cars and were crap. And then
the first one was great.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Same again.
Yeah.
Good,
you're right. No, you're right.
Good first one, bad second and third one, and then has been on a constant up since in terms of their critical responses anyway. And I'm like, this doesn't happen in Hollywood. What is
doesn't really
happening?
make sense,
I'm so
does it?
confused. The interesting thing for me about the Mission Impossible movies is it's the parallel is that they've sort of somehow maintained that main actor. Like obviously Vin Diesel took a step back from, I think it was two or three.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't in Tokyo Drift. He made a guest appearance in Tokyo Drift. He wasn't in 2. Then he made a guest appearance in 3. And it was like, but somehow they've kept this main actor that's just gone all the way through.
I can't imagine.
How weird.
Literally, if you asked me to like write the plot of the rest of the Fast and the Furious movies,
come
I'd
on.
have no idea where
Not
they
a
go with
clue.
that movie.
Not a clue.
Where do they go? With the only way I could write the plot is by just looking at the trailers that I've seen. God only knows. Like I've seen the trailers, but what in the name of God is going on?
Did we talk about this on the podcast?
I don't
Off
think
the
we
podcast
have, but like,
about the fact that Dwayne Johnson really does not like Vin Diesel. They don't get along.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, from the trailers, they're like shooting chain guns at each other
in
at one
real
point.
life.
How
Like
do they do
apparently
these
they hate
movies?
it. I don't know. Well, come on, cash money. Of course, that's why they're
Still,
movies.
but like,
But there are literally shots of them where they refuse to look at each other on set, so they've had to shoot it so it looks like they're looking.
That's kind of
It's
absurd.
Really bad and really
that's
petty
kind
and
of
childish.
funny. I want to Google it.
Oh,
now.
it's so weird.
Yeah, I want to Google it.
There's also a funny one. Is it Tyrese? Is that his name? The dude who's in the second one?
Tyrone or something.
Tyrone.
Yeah.
He apparently and The Rock don't get along either, and there's like a load of funny bits where
But like The Rock is like a nice guy. I've heard.
Who knows?
I actually have heard that.
He's a workaholic. Who knows?
Anyway,
Well, for my perspective, I think that's pretty much all the movies that come out in 2021 that I have a lot of interest in.
yeah, that's all we got.
So like that's really good fun, man. Thank you for paying attention as long as you have. That was good fun.
It's been fun. Do we have any mail, or are we good this week? No one wanted to talk to us.
Well, we got a bit of correspondence this week. I actually had a couple of people messaging just saying that they really enjoyed the show. So thank you for ending the show,
guys.
Leash.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. We love the love.
Yeah, we do.
We should have mentioned this up top, but if anyone wants to get involved, anyone wants to send any recommendations in, anything you want us to suffer through, we obviously love suffering through movies. That would be
I'm enjoying this run of no suffering. Well, let's be fair.
It's about time we brought it back.
Aquaman actually. I mean, sorry, not Aquaman.
Wonder Woman was
Wonder
pretty
Woman was
sufferable.
It was pretty sufferable. It was not fun.
I was fine.
I mean, it was just nice to be in a
It
movie
was
theater.
fine.
But all right,
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
where can they find us?
they can find us at
Pod_assemble.
pod_assemble on Twitter, and then the podcast assemble at gmail.com.
Which is where you can find us. Send us an email. Let us know what you want to suffer through next.
Yeah. let's do
Any
it.
thoughts on what we do next week?
Live? No. It's too hot.
Well, it is way
It's too hot. For
We
thinking.
will be doing a thing next week. Something.
We will do something.
A thing and
Is that like
something.
are you trying to drop a hint? Like
Who knows?
Cover the thing.
Oh, I could do.
Great movie.
We haven't done any horror movies.
That would be fun. Retro horror movie.
Who knows?
Prosthetics. You know. it's all
Maybe.
good. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much,
Been good.
guys. See you later.